guys never know when we change our hair, right? You're not even observant of yourselves. Before the divorce, I was cuddling with my ex, and I felt like my leg had been stabbed. I looked down. His toenails looked like he cut them with his teeth. They're all jagged, like he could unlock a secret door in a haunted house. I was like, do you have a best friend with a matching jagged toenail? You put them together to make a best friend necklace? Is that what you're doing? He turned his toe into a prison shiv. And I was like, what is this? He goes, I just didn't notice. Oh, I sure did. When you shanked my Achilles tendon. I'm bleeding out. Because I feel like this stuff only gets worse with you guys with age. Like, we've all seen the really old men with thick tufts of raccoon hair growing out of their ears. I'm sure that guy's wife has been telling him to trim it for years, and he just can't hear her. Like, what? It's like yelling into a fan. It's coming right back in your face. I just sat next to a very old man on a plane recently, and I had my notebook out, and he leans over and goes, it's nice to see somebody writing and not on their phone. And I was like, aw, he doesn't know I'm writing jokes about cum. And I was like, oh, suddenly Candy Crush doesn't seem so bad, huh, Wendell? And I booped him on the nose. Love that, Wendell. It does feel a little weird to start over now in my 30s, but at least I know now what I like and don't like in a relationship. For example, I don't care how hot you are, I'm still never gonna eat your ass. Not a fan of the devil's chocolate. No, thank you. Anybody here been married for a really long time, like over 20 years? You guys are so cute. How long have you been married? 21. Give it up for 21. That's a long time. Yeah. So you guys get it. If you've been working the same job for over 2 decades, you start to cut some corners. Right? But if it is your first week at a new blowjob, you are hustling. You just start. I'm sure you dudes have figured out by now that the best blowjob you ever get from us is the first blowjob. Because women, we're so competitive, we know that you're about to compare us to every other one you've ever had. So we just enter the arena that night like, I will be queen. Give me that. We pull out all our tips and tricks, hurt our knees, throw our back out. We want a trophy. We will give head to get ahead. But then you get married and you start to treat blowjobs like you're assembling IKEA furniture. Just skip a few steps, and by the end you're like, next time I'm hiring somebody else to do this. A little righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, let's get the hell out of here. We gotta go to Costco. So one of the things that I learned that was hard in going from being married and living with somebody for 8 years into being single and living alone is that no one touches you anymore. And I know it sounds weird to say it like that, but if you live with somebody, there's like a fair amount of touching that happens throughout the day. So my lowest point in quarantine, I started watching ASMR videos on YouTube where a girl would hold a hairbrush up to the camera lens and she would simulate that she was brushing your hair. And I would just ram my forehead up against my laptop. Like, pet me, Rachel. You dirty bitch. As soon as businesses opened up, I made all of the touching appointments. I was like, I'm getting a massage, I'm getting a manicure. Look, I made a dentist appointment just because I missed feeling somebody in my mouth. Okay? Don't you judge me. It was hard. My dentist is this like 65-year-old Armenian man. I was like, floss it up, daddy. Use your toys. He was like, I prefer you call them tools. I was like, Dimitri, I need this. Hush your lips. Just tell me when to spit. One of the appointments I had made was for a bikini wax. And I had been going to salons before COVID to get bikini waxes. I had tried doing some of those like at-home kits, and I just learned that there are some parts of my nethers that I do not have the strength of spirit to wax myself. Listen to me, if you can wax your own lips, you're a psychopath. That is some Steve-O jackass level masochism. I want no part of it. So I'd been going to the salons, and then the salons closed for 6 months, and things got scary. There's so many beautiful women here tonight. I feel like a lot of women started 2020 with like a landing strip, and by July it was just a full airport. You can land anywhere. There's a Cinnabon and a Panda Express. There's a shuttle that takes you to a rental car lot. I mean, employees, W-9s, it's a lot going on. So finally, the salons opened back up, and I immediately made an appointment. And I remembered there's that rule that the hair has to be at least a 1/4 inch long in order for the wax to be able to pick it up. Oh my God. And do we need a medic? Are you okay? Are you... Too much for you? She's like, it's a 7:30 show. I didn't know what this was. I don't like hockey, and we had a Groupon, but she's like, this is not the Christian way. I just saw something online that burned my eyes. I just found out that I'm on WikiFeet. Does anybody here know what WikiFeet is? A few of you nodding. A lot of dudes that are like, don't make eye contact with me right now. If you don't know what WikiFeet is, it's a website for people with foot fetishes. So women, if you post a photo on Instagram that shows your little tootsies, the foot folks might do a copy and paste onto WikiFeet and then zoom in on your toes and make their keyboard sticky. I know. It's like scrapbooking for men who need Jesus. It's a nice hobby. I know that sounds like I'm kink shaming. I'm really not trying to. Honestly, I am so jealous that some people can get off from that. Like, I wish I could just stare at a dude's hairy kneecap and get tingles in my basement. What a life. I would live on Wiki Knees. Oh, I would get nothing done. It's so much harder than that. So somebody told me that there's this profile of me on WikiFeet, and at first when I heard that, I was like, oh, does that mean I have hot feet? I'm so flattered. Then I went and looked. I saw that the foot fetish community has rated my feet only 2.3 out of 5 stars. Which they call okay feet. I was like, oh, apparently I have Applebee's feet. It's like, you'll put it in your mouth, but you won't tell anybody about it. Just kind of a 2 for Tuesday deal. And a few months before the pandemic hit, some dude slid into my DMs and just said, $2,000 for foot vid. Now, Denver, make some noise if you would send a video of your feet to a stranger for $2,000. Godless animals, all of ya. My ears, Jesus. Some of you just throw your areola up on Facebook for $1. Aunts and uncles seeing it, you don't give a shit. You're like, Venmo me my $1, Aunt Sherry, I earned this. This is a solid nip. Well, I appreciate your honesty. I wasn't quite as sure about it as all of you were. was like, I don't know this guy. He's going to have a video of my feet for the rest of his life. It's too weird. I'm not doing it. But then COVID hit. And I lost all my comedy work. So 2 days later, I wrote him back. I got desperate so fast. I was like, all right, man, $2,000 for my feet. I'm ready. Let's do it. And he never responded. I got ghosted by the foot guy. Do you know how humiliating it feels to lower your morals and your values only to have a foot guy be like, nah, I'm good now? You're like, what? What happened? It's like the smelly kid coming up to you at prom and you're like, all right, fine, one dance. And he's like, I was just gonna ask you where the bathroom is. You're like, fuck you, Travis. Out of here. Just trying to be nice. I love my mom so much. She's amazing, but she's been trying to give me career advice, and none of it's helpful, you know? She doesn't understand that there are different levels of fame in comedy. She thinks that all comics are best friends. She'll be like, why don't you call Jerry Seinfeld? And ask to do comedians in cars getting coffee. And I'm like, Mom, I can't even get a guy to jerk off to my feet. Let's lower expectations. Like, this is where my career is at. I have a foosball web series on YouTube, okay? I'm like here. When my mom heard that, she goes, you know who I bet would love to do your YouTube show? Ellen DeGeneres. And I was like, oh, you bet, huh? Well, let's put some money on it, because I bet she fucking wouldn't. If I win, you have to let me back on your cell phone plan. She's always trying to find ways to get me on television. Like when she heard I was getting divorced, she sent me a text that said, now that you're single, you can go on The Bachelor or Miss America. I was like, yeah, because marriage is what was holding me back from becoming Miss America. Pretty sure part of the qualifications include hasn't been paid in Jell-O shots to tell dick jokes. So, I don't think I'm getting in. I was talking about the foosball web series. So, my entire family and I are actually world champion foosball players. Thank you. I know it sounds made up. I swear it's real. My parents met playing in a professional foosball tournament in the 80s. So I literally wouldn't exist if it weren't for foosball. Which is sad. But you know, some of you wouldn't exist if it weren't for boxed wine. So it's like, yeah, whatever. We're all a little garbage. Let's not judge each other. It gets weirder. Not only is my dad a pro foosball player, he's also a slam poetry champion. And an international yo-yo man. Yeah. My dad has the sex appeal of a fanny pack. Crushing it. And my mom is in the Foosball Hall of Fame, and they've been training me to play since I was like 2 years old. But since no one suspects that I'm a pro foosball player, I love to hustle people, right? And so I usually play against other comedians on my web series, but we did this special episode where I went undercover in Vegas and I hustled drunk dudes on the Vegas Strip. So I wore this low-cut top, I talked in the worst voice, and my camera crew and I would go up to groups of guys and I'd go, hi, my name's Kelsey, and I have this web series where I do things that I've never done before for the first time. It's called Pop My Cherry. It's silly, I know. So I've never played foosball before, and we just found this table, and I was just wondering if you guys want to play me. And every group of guys is like, hell yeah, bitch, let's go. Yeah, play right now. Recently, and it was early in the morning, and the woman checking me out, well, she's a little older, and she goes, I just have to tell you, you look so much like Amy Adams. Huh, I don't know if you ever hear that, but you really look like her. And it took all of my strength to not pull my phone out and be like, you know who everybody else says I look like? Just really blast her with a bee hole at 8 a.m. I couldn't do it. I do think that Jesse Rogers and I, we do look alike. We have some different hobbies. You know, I've never just sat on a lava lamp